gonna turn up for Whodini tonight. But let me say this first off. Whodini, before we ever put out a song, like if you know me, you know I'm a big horror movie fan. I love horror movies, like especially the old ones. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to watch horror movies, Hammer films, the Universal horror films. You know, I still love horror films to this day. Whatever horror film they put out, I gotta see it. I love them, right? So Whodini, their very first song they ever dropped was a song called The Haunted House of Rock, right? And we all know that rock didn't refer to rock music back then for people that was in hip hop. It referred to like rocking the house. You know what I'm saying? And also, like a lot of people ask us about our name, the Disco 3. We had nothing to do with disco. It was just that clubs back then were called the disco. We're going to the disco. You know what I'm saying? So us calling ourselves the Disco 3 was kind of like if today we called ourselves the Club Rockin' 3. That was the relationship to the names and all of that. So they put out this hip hop record called Haunted House of Rock, and I was attracted to the cover, the seat, not the CD. There was no CDs back then. It was all vinyl. The vinyl cover. It was a haunted house on it, and I remember having that single cover on my wall, like leaning up against on my dresser, leaning up against my wall, and I used to love it. Like the art on it was just crazy to me, and I just, you know, and I loved them. And then when I heard that they were going to be on the Fresh Fest tour with us, I hadn't met them before that. I was excited because I loved, you know, their songs, songs they had put out, their albums and everything. Me and Jalil ended up being like this. Jalil's my man. I love that guy to death, man. Him and Ecstasy, they were a little bit older than us. You know, we were like, on the Fresh Fest, we were like 16, maybe 17. And those guys basically, like not knowing it, they kind of raised me. Like, you know, watching them, how they handled business, how they did their sound checks, how they got their money. They did club gigs, you know, after parties, shit like that. Watching them kind of molded me into the man that I am today, business-wise, and just regular, you know, just having to deal with, you know, with things like don't take no shorts about your business, you know, and, you know, never give up. Those guys, it came to the point where they would record all their music in London because their label was based out of London, England. So every year they would go to England and, you know, in London, and they would record in London for 4, 5, 6 months or whatever. And Jalil would hit me every time he got back, yo, I'm back, I got the music. He'd get back and I go listen to the record. And I was just blown away when I heard 5 Minutes of Funk, and I heard Funky Beat, and I heard Friends, One Love. All those big records, man, were just insane to me, man. It blew my mind. I was blown away. The shit was, you know, was bananas. So those guys, let me tell you, those guys were so instrumental for hip hop. And you talk about artists that don't get their just due. A lot of people always talking about, yo, you fat boys never get their just due. Whodini never gets their just. Like for real. For real, Whodini, them boys done paved the way for so many artists and represented for Brooklyn. So heavy. You know how I stand for Brooklyn. Did y'all see that just now? Let me find out X is here right now. Don't play with me. My window just... Let me stop right now. All right? So let me just shut up. Listen. Those guys put on for Brooklyn so heavy. Like, y'all have no idea. And for them not to get the acknowledgement that they deserve, man, is crazy. You know, they're sampled often. Their songs are sampled often. You know what I'm saying? They put out so much great music. Did so many shows across the country. You know, we did 2 tours with them, Fresh Fest 1 and Fresh Fest 2. You know, we did numerous spot dates with them where, you know, we'd be pulling up and, you know, we got a show in Cincinnati this weekend, and we get there and Whodini's on the bill too. Lil, what's good, nigga? Like, you know what I mean? And we would hang out and we would just wild out, man, have fun, you know, enjoy ourselves. But the whole time I'm watching them, how they roll and everything, because I'm a impressionable 16-year-old, you know, growing up in this fast world of hip hop. And I'm watching how they operate, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about the business. It taught me a lot about being a man. It taught me a lot, man, for real. And those guys make great music, man. Grandmaster D, we had the craziest times ever, me and Grandmaster D. You know, us hanging out, you know, on the road, doing after parties, just talking for hours in the hotel room about our futures and what we wanted to do. And, you know, all of that, man. It was just amazing, man. But to hear that X, man, passed away today at the age of 56 years old. I haven't heard why he passed away or anything. Yeah, I saw that video years ago. That's video from the Fresh Fest. That video, everybody sent me that video today, but that's years old. That's actually from the Fresh Fest at Nassau Coliseum. Ralph McDaniels took that video, shot that video, you know, and that was the Fresh Fest at Nassau Coliseum. That was the first tour, you know. Jermaine Dupri was there. A lot of that footage was also in, I want to say Cleveland or Cincinnati too. Like the performance part of it was in Cleveland or Cincinnati. But when you see me backstage talking, you know, we're all talking and hanging out and stuff, that's Nassau Coliseum. You know, those are the good old days, you know what I mean? Like touring and having to beef with promoters or, you know, with the building because they didn't want us in their building, you know, because, you know, the insurance was too high, or they thought hip hop was dangerous and everybody wanted to fight and everybody wanted to, you know, do all this, and they just hated this new genre of music that was coming out, you know. And now, you know, billion-dollar deals are being cut behind hip hop, you know. And it's crazy, man. It's just crazy to see that Ecstasy, like, and I don't know the circumstances of his passing, I don't know, but he was like a healthy guy. Like, you know, always in shape. You know, I don't, you know, I'm very curious to find out what happened. Jalil, this is crazy, because Jalil DM'd me yesterday. And when I don't hardly ever check my DMs, I hardly ever check them joints, but every once in a while I'll check them. And I saw one from Jalil, and when I looked at it, there was 5 times he had DM'd me, and I didn't respond because I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? But I always tell him, don't DM me, like text me or call me. I don't be checking on Instagram DMs all the time. You know, like I'm clubbing, I'm doing the club, or I'm doing Rock the Bells. I'm doing Rock the Bells, I'm doing the club. I'm sleeping, you know, I really, it's rare that I have time to check DMs on Instagram. But long story short, he hit me yesterday and I responded to him, you know. And I told him to hit my line, like, call me. He has my number. I know he does. And then I heard the news today, you know, around 12 o'clock. You know, the show was just about to come on, and I heard the news, and I had to take a minute to just, what? Like, it's hard to wrap my head around that, man. It's hard to wrap my, and also I want to send condolences and positive energy and all of that out to Dynasty, his twin brother. You know, damn, man, that shit is just sad, man. It's crazy. Who knows with it? Let's not even mention, you know, make accusations and say how he could have passed away. You know, when if we find out, if they want us, if the family wants us to find out, we'll find out. If not, it is what it is, you know. But that's crazy, man. That's really crazy. I gotta run up inside the house for a minute. I'm gonna come right back, and we're gonna turn right up Whodini. We're gonna turn up for Whodini, all right? I'll be right back, yo.